The third presenters are Miss Siti Saleha Gandana and Miss Nia Nafisa. Let's start with the presentation entitled Constructing Teacher Identity, Teacher Emotion During Teaching English for Preschool Students. It will be delivered by Miss Anastasia Camelia Wardani and Mr. Oda Teda Ena from Sanata Dharma University. The presentation will take 15 minutes. Miss Anastasia and Mr. Oda, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to share the screen. Okay, can everybody see the screen that I share?
Still loading.
Not yet. I think it's still loading. But you can start.
Okay. So this research is entitled Constructing Teacher Identity. So about teacher emotion during teaching English for preschool students. And this paper is created by me, Anastasia Camelia Wardani, and also Pak Oda Tedaena. Okay, so I'm going to show you to the next slide. For the introduction part. Okay, so I have divided this presentation into several parts. First is introduction. So I have the background for the research. So actually the background of the research is from the sharing from other teachers about the struggle, about our struggle as teachers in teaching preschool students. And it also refers to the Van der Waal et al. In 2018 that teachers need to cope with and give meaning to their relationship with students. So in teaching preschool students, it is not only about transmitting or transferring the knowledge, but also teacher and students has the relationship more than just
Hello, Miss Anastasia.
regulation and also teacher and parent communication. So based on that curiosity, so that's why we make this research. And the research question is how teachers' identity is constructed in teaching. Wait, I need to. Okay, so how teachers' identity is constructed, especially when the teachers are teaching preschool students. And then also the research objective is to understand how teachers' identity is constructed when the teachers are dealing with preschool students, and also at the same time how the teachers regulate their emotion in teaching preschool students. And also the benefit gained from these articles for the teachers, they can understand more how to deal with preschool students. And also this paper discusses more or less about classroom management and its relation to the teacher's emotion regulation. Okay, and then there are some of the terms that I would like to give more explanation. So the first term is emotion regulation. So for the emotion regulation, this one is for the teachers, yeah, especially for the teachers. So for the emotion regulation, it means that how the teachers can deal or how they regulate their emotion during the teaching practice, because we known based on the experience of the teachers, dealing with preschool students is not easy because their emotion also influenced by the internal and external factor. So internal factors can be like mood, and then for the external factors, based on the teacher's explanation, it can also affected by the situation, and also especially for the women teachers, it is related to their period time. Sometimes it is difficult for them to regulate their emotion when it comes to their period time. And also preschool students. So according to the research in the Western, the preschool students is refers to the children around 3 to 8 years old. But especially in this paper, the preschool students that discussed are children around 3 to 6 years old. And then we have the teacher's identity. So this one is about how the teachers find their identity as an educator, and then how they uh, give themselves to teach the preschool students. Okay, and then next. Okay, so so this one is the definition of term according some of the experts about the emotion regulation. So we have emotion knowledge represent in acquisition and understanding of emotion. So it is one also related on how the teachers regulate their emotion, uh, influenced by internal and external factors. And then the definition for the preschool students, according to Bodrova and Leong. And then also teacher's identity. We use the definition from Lopez and also Kuswandono. So there are other crucial factors such as teachers' commitment, which may equally affect personal identity. So this paper also discuss how the teachers as educators try to uh, keep their spirit to teach children, especially young learners, especially when they dealing with so many distraction, because there are sometimes unexpected classroom situation happened. Okay, and in conducting this research, the method used is CIT. So CIT stands for Critical Incident Technique, and then CIT is found by John Flanagan in 1954. So actually, CIT is a proven qualitative research approach. So it offers a practical step-and-step approach to collecting and analyzing information about human activities, and then their significance to the people involved. So in this research, the human activities is of course the teaching and learning practice, and the people involved are the teacher and the preschool students as the learners. And then the participants of this research are 10 English teachers in one of the English course in Yogyakarta. Okay, and then the instruments used are first the questionnaire, and then also the CIT-based questionnaire proposed by Brookfield in 1995. So the CIT-based questionnaire actually it is more about the reflection question for the teachers. So the examples of the questions is like, how do you reflect to yourself about your profession as teacher when you teach young learners or preschool students and you experience a difficult situation? So it is also discussed the reflection from the teacher's perspective. And then also we had a semi-structured interview. And then the semi-structured interview takes about 10 minutes for each participant. Okay, so this is the diagram of how CIT is conducted. So first, we wait, my screen is lagging. Okay, so first is establishing general aims. So like what is previously explained, uh, the objective of the research, and then we construct the plans and the specification. So the the plans and the specification is involves developing a detailed and defensible plan for the data collection. So we are focusing on how to set the from the beginning until the end of the research. And then the next step is collecting the data. It is including the distribution of the questionnaire and also the interview. And then analyzing the data. So analyzing the data means we calculate the data gained from the questionnaire and also um, check interviewed the interview from the participants and try to find the similarity from the participants. And then the last step is interpreting the data and report the result. So for the result of this research, okay, so there are some result or the findings. So the first is participants' experiences in teaching English for preschool students. So based on the participants' answer or explanation, uh, they mentioned that their experiences influence how their teacher's identity shaped during the teaching practice, and also how they regulate their emotion. For the junior teachers or for about 1 until 2 years old experience, they explain that sometimes it is quite difficult to regulate their emotion in the class because sometimes it is quite hard to deal with preschool students' behavior. But for the senior teachers, 2 years and above, in this case, 5 years, the maximum, uh, they feel like it is easier to regulate their emotion during the teaching practice because they have found their own strategies in handling the preschool students and their behavior or unpredicted behavior in the classroom. And then the teaching training among the participants, it refers to the participants' answer. They state that uh, actually it is needed for the teachers to have teaching training. So they expect that later on, teachers can have more opportunities to join teacher training, especially with the theme teaching for young learners. And then the third finding is teachers' anxiety in teaching preschool students. So, based on the findings, 80% of the participants they feel unconfident when it is time to teach preschool students. So, this anxiety is also related to their teaching materials and also their condition at that time. So when they feel more confident when they prepare the materials well, but also it all can be distracted with the unexpected with the unexpected students' behavior in the classroom. And then next is how teachers regulate their emotion during the learning process. Based on the research, the result is quite impressive because most all of the participants they believe that they are able to regulate their emotion well in the classroom. It is involved with their facial expressions too during the teaching and learning practice. So they state that it is quite easy for them to regulate their emotion in the classroom uh, within the experience that they had. But sometimes it can be quite difficult with the main factors such as unexpected students' behavior. And then the last is how the teacher's identity developed. From the answer of the questions distributed through the Google form and also based on the interview, mostly the participants or the teachers state that their teacher's identity developed well after they try to reflect their experience in teaching preschool students. So usually they take time after the teaching practice to reflect to themselves about what just happened in the classroom and
Sorry,
then
Kamel,
try to
can you go to the last slide? The moderator say time is up. Can you just show
sorry.
the conclusion? Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear the moderator. Okay, so the conclusion is there are so many factors influence the teacher's identity development, but the main factor will be how to deal with unpredictable students' behavior in the classroom, and also the teacher's ability to regulate their emotion during the teaching practice are it can be improved based on their experience. So the longer they teach the preschool students, they feel like there's ability to regulate their emotion and their teacher identity developed as well. Okay. So that is all for the presentations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Anastasia. I'm sorry for the limited time
Yeah,
because
sorry I didn't hear you.
you can see in the chat box. For all the presenters, I will remind you in the chat box, and please always check your chat box. Okay, but it's okay. Good presentation, Miss Anastasia. I admit
Thank
that
you.
from your presentation that is quite challenging when we face younger learners to face in the preschool, right? So that was an inspired presentation. So thank you very much. Okay, we are going to move to the second presentation. The second presentation entitled Strategies Used by EFL Teacher to Improve Classroom Interaction will be delivered by Miss Danti Hidayanti from Sanata Dharma University. The presentation will take 15 minutes, and I'll remind you all again that the chat box will be opened at the last 10 minutes of your presentation. Okay. Miss Danti Hidayanti, the time is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Can you all see the screen right now?
Okay, Miss, sorry for my interruption. Could you please to make your voice louder?
Okay. Make it louder. Okay.
Yeah.
What about
Thank
now?
you. Yes, it's much clearer. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I would like to share my research on this entitled Strategies Used by FL Teacher to Improve Classroom Interaction. And my name is Danti, and I'm from graduate program in English Language Studies, Sanata Dharma University. So why do I choose this research? Because I think that teaching and learning process always involve interactions in order to be effective. This means that good interaction exists when messages are given and also received by both teacher and also students instead of just from one party. So in this scaffolding process, the emphasis is on providing information and information communication between teacher and also students. And
Sorry, Miss Danti, you can unmute yourself.
all right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me back to the screen.
Miss Anastasia, you can mute yourself.
Okay.
Thank you.
But here, what happened in many of the FL classroom is that students tend to be less responsive. It is considered common because English is considered to be a foreign language, a language that is not used in the daily basis or used in outside of the classroom. And the students tend to either keep silent or feel reluctant to speak because they are afraid of making mistakes. And this becomes the main concern for the teachers as they have role to facilitate the learning in the classroom. And one of the innovation in the language teaching is to create more balanced opportunities for the learning. In this case, Nation in 2007 proposed four strengths, which are kinds of learning conditions that occurs through the whole language course. And one of the four strengths is meaning focused output, which focus on productive skill. And to achieve a communicative atmosphere in the classroom, one of the options is by improving the classroom interaction between teacher and also students. Thus, the studies aim to investigate the strategies used by the EFL teacher to improve the classroom interaction. So what is meant by classroom interaction? Here, Brown in 2000 stated that interaction happens when there's an exchange of thoughts, feelings, and also ideas between the parties involved, teacher and also students. And the results is a mutual effect on each other. So here we can say that the term interaction describes the action and also reaction or mutual effect which occurs between the individual. So the quality of the classroom can be determined by the parties involved in the classroom itself, meaning that it can be determined by the teacher and also the students. And here, teaching style can also contribute in the determining classroom interaction. Basically, interaction analysis exists to examine teacher and also student talk. But then, from these two categories, the classroom interaction grows into several patterns. And some patterns can be found here. For example, in Malamah Thomas, the researchers divide the classroom interaction into teacher to whole class, and then teacher, individual student, and teacher, and also from individual and also individual students. And in 2017, Rohmah made a combination of interaction analysis as part of the research instrument, which can be seen here. There are two types, teacher talk and also student talk. And the methodology that I use here is a qualitative approach, which is conducting an interview with one of the teachers in a private universities in Yogyakarta. This teacher teaches students in their first year in the university, which means that the students are freshmen. And from the interview here, we can see that the participant or the teacher stated that he didn't know whether the students had an intensive course in their previous studies because the students are freshmen, which means that the teacher didn't know whether they had like intensive course or not previously. So here the teacher made initial action, which is the teacher talk before having the student talk. And he stated that he often ask questions and also respond to the students' answers with series of questions, and also he'd like to make jokes because he think that that kind of activities will be contribute to the good relation between students and also the teachers, because by answering question, asking question, and also makes some jokes can make the students feel the sense of security and also encouragement from the teacher. And after that, the teacher also provide different kind of activities which involve students' participation. For example, discussing pictures, videos, and also discussing some debatable topics, storytellings, conversation, and also doing the role play. And when the teacher do the teacher and student talk, it can be done either in groups or pairs, which means that these activities will help students in developing both academic skill and their social skill, because in groups or in pairs, the students can interact with the other students as well as the teacher. And the teacher also regroup the students regularly, because it can give like greater chance for the students to interact with each other. And the teacher also give like clear direction, monitoring the group discussion, and also showing up when students need the help. And then the teacher also praise students for their effort in the learning process. And last but not least, the teacher also provide feedbacks and adding some information when necessary. But this one is for the teacher talk. What about the student talk? From the discussion, the teachers stated that in student talk, it can be in the form of students respond to the teacher's question, and then also asking for clarification when they think that there is something unclear. And then the students also can express their ideas in group or pair discussions, which was done in numerous times during the learning process. And also the students are given the chance to give like peer feedback. And the conclusion is that the strategies used by the teacher in this research belong to two categories, which are teacher talk and student talk. In teacher talk, the teacher emphasizes the implementation of group or pair work in listening and speaking class to promote communicative practices. Like the teacher puts students in group because he thinks that it can increase the students' chance to develop academic and also social skills. So as group works enable students to interact more with their peers, this means that it can also increase the student talk. I think that is all for my presentation, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Miss Dinda. No, I'm sorry, Danti. Thank you very much, Miss Danti, for the awesome presentation. I agree that academic and social skills in classroom classroom interaction, which called group work is very useful for us. And thank you very much for sharing the awesome presentation. And we will move to the third presentation entitled Border Crossing in the Time of the Pandemic, a virtual intercultural encounter, will be delivered by Miss Isti Siti Saleha Gandana and Miss Nia Nafisa from Pendidikan Indonesia University and Muhammadiyah Surakarta University. The presentation will take 15 minutes, and I remind you all again that at the last 10 minutes of your presentation, we will open the chat box and you can put your question there. And then Miss Nia Nafisa and Miss Isti Siti Soleha Gandana, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you.
Very
Can
much.
everyone see? Yeah.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Can you hear my voice well?
Yes, I can.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you. So today, Isti and I will talk about the border crossing in the time of the pandemic, a virtual intercultural encounter. We are from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia and we are colleagues. Yeah. So I hope, okay. A little bit different from the other presenters which talk about the teaching practice. We probably more like the manifestation of the intercultural competence. Yeah? Just like Peter Sayers told us this morning that it is part of the trend today. So we also are interested in how this intercultural competence could be applied, yeah, because like Geisel Avila said,
I'm sorry, Miss Nia, are you there?
I was thinking the same thing.
just
right.
yeah, anyway, so this is actually our departing point is from Geisel Avila that we need comprehension between humans so that we can have intellectual and moral solidarity on earth. Yeah. Next, please, Isti.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, next. I think I have problems. Yeah, with,
You cannot see my screen?
I can see. Okay, but okay, that's right. So because of this, then during this pandemic era, then this understanding of comprehension about others, yeah, it's very important. Therefore, based on these three concerns, yeah, that globalization demands knowing how to relate to others, we believe that globalization is not privileged to only certain nation, the dominant culture, but also it is opening space, yeah, for us, for other voices to know, to understand about each other. Just like Zarate said, that globalization demands knowing how to relate to otherness, including other voices such as Indonesia. Yeah. Sorry. However, with different kinds of cultures, it may pose cultural misunderstanding. I think, okay. The miscommunication and misunderstanding between different cultures. Yeah. In doing so, in overcoming this misunderstanding, many of universities, such as UPI, for example, offer such courses like intercultural communication. These courses hopefully enable us to understand other different perspectives than what we believe. Yeah. Surprisingly, the pandemic is a blessing in disguise. Yeah.
it opens an opportunity for us to create more intercultural space, although it is not face to face, yeah, but it is virtually through the short course called summer program. So this is what we did in our department. Ibu Isti, if you move to the next slide.
Yes, hold on. Yeah.
So our department, the English department at UPI, then grabbed this opportunity and had the summer program, an introduction to contemporary Indonesia. So the objectives of this course is a 2-week virtual course introducing students to contemporary Indonesian society, because we are from English language and literature. Then we offer readings from Indonesian literature translated into English, and also some pop culture Indonesian pop culture, but also translated in English. Yeah. Another objective is actually to facilitate intercultural understanding between nationalities and ethnic affiliation. Uh, we think that many people actually are interested in Indonesian culture and also Indonesian society. And during this 2 weeks program, the students were exposed to various socio-cultural political issues, from the reading passages and the film, and as also the video clips, music video clips that we offer the students. Yeah. And they were also invited to compare how similar issues were experienced and perceived in their own context. We had 8 topics for discussion, ranging from history, bahasa Indonesia, democracy, women's role, identity and belonging, religious diversity, film and music, and finally food and cuisine. And we were so delighted to have this kind of enthusiasm, yeah, from the interested participants. We had about 50 interested participants, but we would like to have a more solid discussion and then deeper discussion. So we only let 20 students to participate in this program. And they came from 11 different nationalities. Belgium, as you can see in the table, from Belgium, China, Indonesia, Mexico, Myanmar, Russia, Singapore, Suriname, Thailand, the Philippines, and finally Timor-Leste. Interestingly, they came from different education background. Many of them, about 50%, started from international relation, either as the major is political science or Asian studies, yeah. But some are also from economics. Yeah? And we can see from the different ages, we expected to have undergraduate students or graduate students, but it turned out that 2 of them are doctoral students, and one is a professional in business. Yeah, you can see Jolie, for example. The age is actually quite old compared to others. Yeah, and she's staying in Indonesia. She has stayed in Indonesia for 4 years. So it's quite interesting. All of them are enthusiastic about knowing Indonesian better, probably because of their education and also probably because their personal experience with Indonesian people. So to find out what we are finding, what we did with the program and how the finding results, so I will let Isti to continue the presentation. And thank you for listening to me because of my poor connection. Yeah, Isti, you can continue.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Ibu Nia. Yeah. So apologies if my connection is unstable as well. Yeah. So there are 2 research questions that we tried to tackle in this research. The first one is, how did the student perceive the program? And to what extent did the program facilitate intercultural learning? So for us, it's really important to understand and to explore the students' perceptions, because this is the first time that we did such a course, you know, an intercultural and international course at UPI. So we really wanted to know the students' perceptions for room for improvement the next time we ran the program. All right, so now there are two main data collection techniques in this research. The first one is the questionnaire that we distributed at the end of the course, and the written reflection that the students all had to do. And they're all guided, the written reflection. The questionnaire revolved around their expectations of the program, whether the program met their expectation or not, and then the suitability of the materials, the content delivery, how were the instructors, were they letting the students engage in the course, in the discussion, and then were they given opportunities for interaction throughout the program. And then we also tried to find out their general impression of the program and the interesting aspects that they find. Also, we wanted to know what they want to learn more about Indonesia. And so we asked for their suggestions also regarding the program. As for the written reflection, we asked them to write, we asked them to reflect on their perceptions of Indonesia and its people. So we guided them in writing the reflection. So we told them that they might want to consider the following points, such as their motivation in joining the course, and then whether the course had actually changed their perceptions of Indonesia and its people, their experiences and impressions in encountering, in communicating with Indonesians. And we also wanted to know whether actually the course helped them to better understand Indonesia. And then, so we were quite surprised actually with their responses, because I can say that all of the students were very, very positive about the course. So they showed, they were very appreciative of the program that we ran. And well, yeah, all of them were very positive about the program. For example, these are just 4 of the excerpts that I took, but you can see from the words such as, I love it, very interesting, wonderful exposure, true learning experience, you know, so very, very positive. So for example, they had such a there was this one person who said, actually not just one person, but I think many said that it's a great time to spend during the pandemic, you know, and the program was free as well. That's something of a plus point, yeah. And also they were very surprised that we tackled with critical issues that they thought many people would not really talk about, you know. So they say that we were really open in delivering the materials. And so right, these are just some of the responses, yeah, at the glance. So we asked them whether the program met their expectation, and to our surprise, more than half of the students said that the program exceeded the expectation, you know, so that's very flattering. And also whether the presenters delivered their materials well and engaged them as participants, and 82% said yes, absolutely. So that's very, very impressive. Okay. Oops, sorry. Next. So for example, did you feel you were given opportunities to share their ideas? Like almost all of them said yes, absolutely. Yeah, and also regarding how do you think, how do you think the 2-hour duration, is it sufficient for content delivery and discussion? 2 people said so. Okay, so not really. Okay, all right. So these are the areas of exploration that they wanted to know further. Yeah, politics is in the top agenda because I think, as you already see, most of them are from political science. But from this, I can see that these people are quite advanced in terms of knowledge of Indonesia. They have moved beyond the stereotyping Indonesia. They wanted to know about the democratization, the modernization, and the cultural appropriation that's happening in the country. Okay, so to understand, to answer this question, to what extent the program facilitate intercultural learning, we evaluated ourselves first, ourselves as instructors. To what extent have we opened up that space for interculturality? Is it up, the time? Okay, so we use Moran's cultural knowings framework to understand how we did, yeah? So there are several levels. This is knowing about, knowing how, knowing why, and knowing oneself. Okay, from this framework, we realized that we as instructors, we were not able to provide the students with the stage knowing how, because knowing how is actually dealing with giving students opportunity to do the practices, forms of doing. So for example, there was one or two students who were really fond of jamu, and they wanted to know how the recipes for making jamu and also the taste. So if it was, face-to-face communication, we could have, made the jamu and asked them to drink, but this was not possible due to the virtual nature of the course. Okay, in relation to the students, oh, no, I'm stuck. Okay, so to understand the students' level of intercultural competence, we use Byram's aspects of interculturality, which consists of attitude, knowledge, skills of interpreting and relating, skills of discovery and interaction, and critical cultural awareness. Now, I can say, and Bunia as well, we have discussed about this, that the majority of the students actually have shown these skills throughout the course, both in the questionnaire, in the interaction, and in the reflections. Now I can show you some. Probably let's move to the final stage. Okay, so for example, there was this one reflection in which all of Byram's aspects of interculturality were evident: the attitude, the knowledge, the skills of relating and interpreting, the skills of discovery and interaction, and the critical cultural awareness. Oops. Time is up. Is it? So for example, this person, I appreciate the way the instructor spoke critically about the aspects of their own past and traditions, okay? And then she can relate to her own identity as a Chinese Filipino, yeah? And then she relate that to the setting of a particular literary work, okay? And then from there, she reflected. She said, I never imagined the persecution of Chinese Indonesians during the late 1990s to be as inhuman as burning down houses and raping women. Now I understand better why some Chinese Indonesians are still reluctant to go out of the comforts of their own cultural circles. I also gained insights from their fellow participants who came from all over the world. And the takeaway for her is, I'm challenged to stay on the watch for surprises about Indonesia's past, present, and future as the two of us get close. Okay, time is up. Okay.
Yes, it's 5
all
minutes
right,
already.
thank you. I'll just.
Maybe you can
It's all
show
right.
the conclusion. You
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
can. Yes.
There's only one more to show. No worries.
Okay, it's okay. You just continue if there's one more. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
so it's
you.
just one more. So we can say that the program was successfully run, and it's a program that's worth developing and sustaining, although there's the pluses and the minuses. The minuses being sometimes, we were in a unstable connection, poor connection, and that's really, it's really disturbing. And the recommendation is that I think we as instructors should give more space to give and for students to explore their own culture so that we know better also of their own cultures. It's not just them understanding Indonesia a bit, but also we understanding their cultures. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was an awesome. I'm sorry because the time is limited.
Yep,
Actually, I want to hear more from you, but the time is not support us as well. Well, for my comments, that seems that um, the new, when I heard the summer program, it sounds interesting because in providing students positive intercultural experiences, and it was so new for me and it was so great. Thank you for the third presenters. Well, let's move to the Q&A session. It's time for questions and answers. For the first round, I will invite 3 questions. Please click on the raise hand icon. Maybe you have already listed in the chat room. And please to rename your name by name and underscore affiliation as well, and then write your question. Okay, I will firstly to read the very first question. It's from Christian Wijaya from Sanata Dharma University. It's to Mbak Dianti, I think. Dianti, yeah.
Dianti.
Okay, let me read it. It is such an enlightening presentation. I'm still wondering, how do you, as a teacher, enable all taciturn or passive learners to be proactive self-initiators toward their communicative practices outside of the classroom walls? Can you explain some strategies, please? You can directly answer the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So based on my experience, I think that some of the strategies is that in the teaching and learning process, in outside of the classroom, at that time, I tried to make the students to do some interview with the native speaker outside of the classroom. So I set them into groups. So in the groups, there will be like some active and passive students. So they are all in a group, and then they will interview native speakers, and then they try to report to make a video. So how I evaluate them is that they need to like distribute the portion. So each the student has to get same portion, like about asking questions to the native speakers. So that is one of the strategies. And then the next thing is that I also had my students to do like podcasting. Like they need to do like storytelling, and then they read something, and then they try to explain about what they read, and also do the storytelling outside of the classroom, and also in the form of the video. So in this case, they don't share the videos with the others in the classroom, but they made it outside of the classroom. So I think that it can make them easier, or make them feel secure when they are doing it themselves. So I think that is some of the strategies that I used based on my experience. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very
Does it
much.
answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
the answer.
Okay, I think it's much clear from the audience, and also from you, Miss Danti. Thank you very much for answering that. And then I will move to the Mr. Oda question. It's for the third presenters. So please pay attention to the question. I believe that reading is completely different from experiencing. Reading books and watching movies or films cannot replace experience. How can the virtual program can be as rich as the on-site program? Okay, the third presenters, time is yours.
Okay. So we acknowledge first of all, we need to acknowledge that it's never the same. The actual interaction and knowledge we gain just from reading books. Okay, but being people, instructors from language and literature program, we believe that there are some truths, okay, when we read literary works, and when we engage also, it's not just literature and literary works that we explored as materials, but also popular cultural texts. Yeah. So we take current issues, that's, you know, what's happening from YouTube, like the music such as Lati, yeah, and also you know, so it's actually, we tried, when we designed the course, we also think about the current situations, what's really happening, you know. So for example, the tensions that we had with the Papuans, you know, a couple of months ago, last year, you know, so we took up those cases. So it's not just literary works that's all fictional, but we tried to also present and represent Indonesia as is, with all its limitations, but also with all its dynamics, you know, so that the students can move beyond the stereotypical Indonesia. Because, you know, we also talked about stereotypes that they had of Indonesia. And I think all of them agree that Indonesians are very friendly. And sometimes a couple of students equate Indonesia equals Bali, which is not the case, of course. Yeah, people from Aceh would be insulted when, you know, foreigners only see Indonesia as being represented by Bali. So, you know, we meticulously actually selected the material so that it can reflect the current issues that's happening. So it's, and like the literary works that we selected also, it's not like fictional thing, you know. For example, the 1990 case, you know, with the tensions with the Chinese Indonesians, we took up that case, and that's taken from real cases happening in the nation. So yeah, of course, I think it had given us, with all the limitations, space to talk about Indonesia in a very honest way. And all I can say, all of the students were surprised in how, you know, in the openness of on our part, you know, that we don't deny that there are tensions even within ethnic groups. For example, what's happening with the Papua, and then there's this video clip about Indonesia, but some of the ethnic groups are not being represented, and that's problematic. And we talk about this, you know. So yeah, maybe Bunia wanted to say something, add to my answer, maybe. Is she still here? Or maybe she's gone. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Miss what's your name again? Okay, I'm sorry. For Miss Isti for the really clear answers. But unfortunately, we have to back to the main room. If you have any question, if you have any question to be added, I mean, there are still many questions. You can directly email the presenters as well as maybe from the program book, if I'm not mistaken, or you can ask the commit to ask the email of the presenters, and you can directly ask them. I really want to hear your questions and the answers, but I'm sorry again, the time is limited, so I hope you can back to the main room now. But before all, we can take a picture maybe. Okay, for all the presenters, could you please to open your camera as well, so because we have to screenshot our conference right now. Please open your camera. So I want to see the beautiful faces and the handsome faces as well. Okay, Miss Leodra. Oh yeah, I think, okay, thank you. It's okay, it's already. Okay. Have all, okay, maybe Miss Lisa. Okay, Miss Lisa and Miss Mr. or Miss Simron. Oh yeah, Mr. Simron. Alif, Miss Alif, please. And Miss Anindita, Teresia, Anastasia, and all the audience, could you please to open the camera? because we need to document you as well. Okay, the operator, you are ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile again. All right, freestyle, freestyle. You can maybe something like that. Okay, freestyle. New era freestyle is saranghe, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you very much. This last conference really made me so motivated. Thank you very much for the presenters and also all the audience that, and especially for all that have listed the question. Don't forget to email your presenters as well, so they can answer your question as well. And please now back to the main room, and let's see